Hi, this is Jack. I've got a short file for you today. I got a message from one of our players who said that his archmage had done a bunk, and he's now the archmage. He's been promoted without being consulted, and he hasn't got a clue what he should be doing about it. Well, this sort of got me off my backside, where I've been sitting thinking for months about doing something, and I did it. I made this file. To give you the background, we have what we call tips of the day, and our tips of the day are frequently asked questions that come up in the news feed. People say, how do I do this, how do I do that, and we make a nice little answer with a little picture, and we file it so that the next time someone else asks, we can show it to them. Right, well, this is our photo album where all the frequently asked questions are kept. And if we just go down this album, we will come, you see the little subheadings, there's buildings, there's trading goods, there's scouting, world map, blah, blah, blah. Here we go, fellowships. So this is what we're going to be talking about. So you see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, there's about 20 of them. So let's look at them quickly just to show you what we have in the pantry. What do we have on our shelves? Right, this one here, Good Fellowship, is just like a symphony orchestra. Well, it is. There's the archmage. He gets all the attention, and there's the head of the strings who's his mage, and there's another mage there, but there's also the little guy who plays the triangle right at the back, you see. And in the second movement of the concerto, he just has to hit that triangle, bing, bing, bing. That's all. But if he doesn't do that, if he's half asleep, then he wrecks the entire concert. So this is the whole point, you see. We like a symphony orchestra, and there's Flash Harry in the front, but there's a lot of little people who are hardly ever heard from, but they're just as important. Right, be nice to the noobs. This is a little piece that I wrote over here about paying back, because we got lots of help when we started. We really do have to give help to the newcomers. This is quite an important one. Sometimes you don't have enough people producing marble or crystal or whatever, and there's a long story here that explains to you in detail the many things that you can do about that, and certain things that you shouldn't try to do because they don't work. Right, now this is the important one. Particularly for new archmages, I have on file, I have a welcome letter, I have an invite letter, I have a weekly report that I send out, all on file, so I don't have to type them all over again. And they're all here. There's about 13 of them, and if somebody wants to take them and adapt them, well, they're welcome to. That's what they're there for. There you go. Spreadsheets, we keep stats on our daily visits. Holiday special, well, we give 0-star goods trades to our whole fellowship as a Christmas present. This is quite important. If you're looking for new members, there's a whole lot of tips here that are not well known. How you can go out there and find people who are suitable to be members. Why is ranking important? Some people say it isn't. It's all in there. Very important, the Knowledge Point Swap Club. You see, I don't know if you heard of this. When you give points, when you give knowledge points to your friends' ancient wonders. See, this is the Marshall Monastery belonging to someone or other, to me in fact. And if you donate, somebody's given me 64 points, someone's given me 20. And when I finish that ancient wonder and I upgrade it, then they're going to get a prize, you see. All of these people getting prizes. The Knowledge Point Swap Club is a way, there are two ways of doing it, that you can give points to each other to share the prizes and to help each other to upgrade your ancient wonders. Okay, supply and demand. This is quite a complicated story, but there are those who might find it interesting how to balance your supply and demand, and just a little expose of what happens when one player suddenly guzzles all the marble and there's none left for anyone else. It's yeah, you can read it if you're interested. Right, what do you do when somebody doesn't reply to your messages? Yeah, there's a little couple of tips there. Right, now this is very, very, very close to my heart. You know, in most fellowships, or in many fellowships, you have people who play browser games tend to be perhaps antisocial. Many are ill. There are people who are severely depressed, people who have lost a spouse, for example, people who have a drinking or an alcohol or a drugs problem, people who are disabled, and heaven forbid, there are even a couple of players who are undergoing chemotherapy and have the spectre of death hanging over them. So, you know, there are lots of people like that playing browser games, and I sort of try to find them and to encourage them. I get a kick out of doing that, and I believe I'm doing something worthwhile. But the point that I wrote this tip about was that if you don't look for them, you won't find them. And there may very well be a very unhappy, timid person hiding away in your fellowship, and you never know they were there. And when you could, in fact, have done something to help them. There you go. Fellowship-based tournaments are very important these days. And amalgamating a fellowship so that you cannot have 4 out of 25, so you can have 25 out of 25. That is very important. And if you come to Platinum Leaf on Facebook, you will be able to advertise. We have an advertising feature where, say, you've got a 12-man fellowship and you're looking for another 13 players. We could perhaps put you together with someone, and then you have a full 25 members, which will obviously be to your advantage. What to do with a whingy player? Well, there you go. Some would say kick his backside, but there are some tips in here. Then, should fellowships require their members to increase their score every week? Well, some do, some don't. I'm not one of the ones who do. I don't think scores are that important. What would a player see when you sent him an invite, you see? You see these things. A lot of people don't know that, so there you go. How do you handle cross-tier trades? Now, this is quite an important subject, and I've gone, and this tip over here is a sub-tip, and there's a lot of info in there, so it's worth looking at. Should I feel guilty when I leave a fellowship? We've covered that one in depth as well, with a lot of help from other people who contributed ideas. And then this is an interesting one. How long do I have to wait to join a new fellowship? A lot of people will say to you, you can't join for 24 hours. Well, in fact, this is not true. The correct answer is that you can't join 2 fellowships in 24-hour time period. So you can't leave today and go somewhere else and then come back straight away. You have to wait 24 hours. But if you haven't left another fellowship, then you can leave yours today and you can join another one 30 seconds later. So there you go. Those are the tips. Alright, so I've showed you all the tips. Now let's have a quick look inside this file that I made today. We'll click over there. There you go. There's the fellowship, the Symphony Orchestra that I told you about. Here we have the 6 cornerstones of a fellowship. That's daily visits, trading goods, chat and messages, camaraderie, harmony, and mutual assistance. I've just noticed that I have to make that 7, in fact, because tournaments have actually become a cornerstone now. There's a lot of goodies you can make in tournaments. It's important to find the right fellowship. If you're a casual player and you land up in a serious kind of fellowship, you're going to be hassled all the time because you're not playing hard enough. And if you're a serious player and you land up in a casual fellowship, then same thing, you're going to be very irritated that everyone else is so slow. So this is perhaps the most important message I have for you: find the right fellowship. Okay, now we're right at the end of this presentation. What you're going to see when you carry on down here, you see, there's all our letters. There's a whole list of the different letters that you can use. They're all links in blue, and you can click on them and those will take you to the subject that you find interesting. Good. Well, that's the end of the video then, and if you'd like to find the file I've told you about, then you must go down below the video on the YouTube page and you'll see in the description I've given you the URL that you can click on. And while you're there, please, if you want to hear more of our videos, just click on subscribe, and do us a favor, click on like. It just gets our ranking up a little bit, so other people are more likely to see our work. Good. I hope you found something useful in this. See you around. Bye.